Welcome back, everyone. Do take your seats, and we'll begin our second half. We hope you had a lovely break. We kick off with our Members' Award. As most of you know, Eurordis brings together a powerful network of more than 1,100 rare disease patient organisations across 77 countries, all united by a shared goal, improving the lives of over 30 million people living with a rare disease in Europe. In close partnership with Eurordis, these organisations amplify the patient voice, influence research and policy, enhance patient services, and connect the many stakeholders who make real progress possible. The Black Pearl Awards exist to shine a spotlight on the collected effort and to recognise the organisations that are truly driving meaningful change. And now it's a real honour to introduce the recipient of the 2026 Members' Award, the Ehlers-Danlos Society. The Ehlers-Danlos Society, originally founded as the Ehlers-Danlos National Foundation in 1985, became a global organisation in 2016. Empowering community members, caregivers and health professionals worldwide and ensuring equitable access to knowledge and care. We have a child with ED, so really feeling this particular award. With the award, Eurordis wishes to recognise the Society's EDS ECHO programme, a cornerstone initiative that has connected over 2,900 participants across 52 countries. Through virtual case-based learning, the programme offers dedicated tracks in professional education, health advocacy and caregiver support, combining expert presentations with real-world discussions that turn knowledge into practice. By overcoming geographic and systemic barriers, EDS ECHO has created a scalable and transformative model, amplifying the voices of the community, fostering collaborative, community-driven learning and driving meaningful change in rare disease care around the world. Through this initiative, an innovative programme, the Ehlers-Danlos Society continues to demonstrate how education, connection and collaboration can transform lives. I'm now thrilled to welcome to the stage the President and CEO of the Ehlers-Danlos Society, Professor Lara Bloom.
Thank you. It is amazing to be standing here to accept the Eurordis Members' Award 2026. And even more so in the year of our 10-year anniversary as a global organisation. That timing makes this moment incredibly special for us. 10 years ago, the Ehlers-Danlos Society was born from a big dream and very few resources. In 2015, I left EDS UK with a deep conviction that if we were ever going to solve the systemic fragmentation facing people with these conditions, we needed a global organisation. I was fortunate that the US organisation at the time, EDNF, the Ehlers-Danlos National Foundation, founded by Nancy Rogowski in 1985, also recognised that need. So throughout 2015, I travelled. I listened. I spoke with doctors, researchers, academics, and most importantly, community from around the world. We asked what was missing, what was needed, and what a truly global effort should look like. And it was from those conversations that the Ehlers-Danlos Society was born, relaunched on the shoulders of that original EDNF Foundation, but with a renewed mission to break down fragmentation and unite every community impacted by EDS and HSD. In the early days, it was just me and one other person part-time, supported by a handful of volunteers. It really was a kitchen table, ma and pa setup like so many of you here and the other members can relate to. Limited funding, limited reach, very little social media presence, But we had an enormous need in front of us, and we had vision. We knew research had to accelerate. For years, we set ourselves the bold aim to raise $1 million annually to fund the science our community so desperately needed. But by 2018, it was clear that waiting for that broad general funding wasn't enough, and the millions just were not coming in. So we did something different. We instead wrote a detailed proposal for a specific study to try and identify the biomarker for hypermobile EDS, which is the most prevalent type and the only one without known genetic causes. The very next morning, and I promise this is true, people think I'm exaggerating, but it was the very next day, I received an email from a father whose daughter was living with the condition, and he wanted to make a significant contribution to research. And for the first time, I had something tangible to share. And after one phone call, he committed $1 million. Then another million followed, and another. And our organisation changed overnight. We once hoped that after 10 years, we would be able to say we had reached and raised $10 million for research. But today, I am proud to stand here and say, 10 years on, we've raised nearly $45 million to advance research. In 2018, we then launched EDS Echo, becoming the first rare disease organisation to adopt the Project Echo model, all teach, all learn. Move knowledge, not patients. And since then, we have nearly 3,000 participants across 52 countries that have been mentored through case-based, community-driven learning. We've seen clinicians change practice, advocates grow in confidence, and caregivers feel less alone. And we were honoured with an award from Project Echo itself. But the real reward has been watching knowledge translate into real-world impact. Along the way, we built what didn't exist: a global biobank, a global registry now approaching 20,000 participants. We funded international collaborations, and this December there will be updated diagnostic criteria, pathways, and clinical care management. Everything we do, every single day, is driven by the desperate need of our community, by the people who are waiting decades for a diagnosis, by those who finally receive a diagnosis only to discover there are no clear management pathways, no coordinated care, and no roadmap forward. We receive no government funding. We are not sustained by major grants of any kind. We are powered almost entirely by individual donors, by parents determined to change the future for their children, by families who refuse to accept that nothing can be done. And to every one of them, I am deeply grateful. I remain disappointed in the systems that continue to overlook rare and chronic conditions, but I am endlessly grateful to those who step forward when systems fall short. And to everyone living with a type of EDS or HSD who has ever been told, it's in your head, you're just anxious, you're just depressed, we see you, we believe you, and the society is your home. Today, we are a team of 40 staff across the US and the UK, reaching millions of people each year, supported by a global community that refuses to be invisible. The vision that began with 2 people around a kitchen table has become a global movement. This award is so meaningful because it recognizes not just innovation, but perseverance. It recognizes what can happen when lived experience leads, when people living with conditions are empowered to shape research, education, and care systems that affect their lives. To our staff, some of which are here with me tonight, our boards, our volunteers, our clinicians and researchers, and most importantly, to the people living with EDS and HSD, this belongs to you. And as we celebrate 10 years, I can honestly say we're only just getting started. Thank you so, so much.
So many inspiring speeches this evening. Now, alongside patient organisations, The rare disease community is also built on the dedication of individual volunteers who give their time, energy, and expertise to make a real difference. Each year, the Black Pearl Awards celebrate one outstanding volunteer whose commitment has had a lasting impact on Eurordis and the wider rare disease community with the Volunteer Award. This evening, we're proud to honour Alison Watson for her leadership and tireless advocacy for people living with rare epilepsies. As co-founder of Ring 20 Research and Support UK CIO in 2014 and CEO in 2021, Alison has been a true visionary, raising awareness, advancing research, and providing vital support for people affected by Ring chromosome 20 syndrome and related rare epilepsies, bringing hope to countless families. In 2021, she founded the UK Rare Epilepsies Together network, uniting diverse communities and creating a powerful collective voice for change. And at the European level, Alison has made a transformative impact as EPAG lead within ERN Epicare and as an early member of the EPAG steering committee. Her pioneering approach to shared leadership with ERN clinicians has strengthened patient representation and fostered collaboration across Europe and beyond. Through her compassion, integrity, and unwavering commitment, she truly embodies the spirit of volunteerism. Join me in welcoming to the stage our Eurordis Volunteer 2026 awardee, Alison Watson.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's quite an honour to receive this. Quite unexpected, really, to be nominated. So, thank you.
Congratulations. What drove you to move from patient advocacy to becoming an activist? Because that's quite some move, isn't it?
Yes. So, it all started with my son, David. As parents of a child with a rare epilepsy diagnosis, Ring 20, as we call it for short, we wanted to know what his diagnosis meant, how he could be treated, and how this would affect his future. But we weren't prepared for what his medical team weren't able to give us any answers whatsoever. I set up Ring 20 Research and Support to help families just like us connect for mutual support when medicine doesn't have the answers yet. But change doesn't happen on its own. I've learned we have to be the catalyst for change, and raising awareness and driving patient-led research is a mammoth undertaking. Working with Epicare ERN and Rare Disease International, I learned clear messaging in rare disease. Before we can change practice at a global or regional level, we should leverage resources nationally, where we have most influence on policy and service delivery. And in the UK, that includes the fantastic scientific and biotech companies we have access to. Acknowledging that most rare epilepsy patient groups are all striving to meet a common set of unmet needs, I invited colleagues from patient advocacy groups across the UK to join me, and UK Rare Epilepsies Together was born. We've just produced a Case for Change report, white paper report, with recommendations to improve access to diagnosis, treatment and coordination of care for all living with rare and complex epilepsies across the UK. And we're currently working on a plan to put those words into action. I could never have achieved this for Ring 20 alone, so I'd like to thank all those who've helped me on this journey of discovery and who continue to support and inspire me.
So how can we ensure greater equity across rare diseases to improve outcomes for all those people who are affected?
So every person with a rare disease deserves to live a healthy and fulfilled life. I think you'd all agree. To achieve this goal, we need to recognise that levels of understanding, medicine and science differ across the 7,000 plus, whatever the number is, rare diseases today. Most rare diseases are ultra rare, with little or no knowledge or research, let alone treatments. There's much talk about targeted treatments currently and precision medicine. But to reach that utopian aim, we need to ensure that the fundamental building blocks are in place for basic science to flourish. Patient registries, biobanks, natural history studies, and researcher interest. These are unsustainable, driven on a disease-by-disease basis. That's my belief, and certainly not if funded by patient advocacy groups. For truly equitable outcomes, I believe we need to work together, not just by joining up resources that already exist, but identifying the gaps and then working collaboratively to find solutions for the many, not the few. For me, this is the true spirit of rare disease that leaves no one behind. I'd like to thank Eurodis and the rare disease community for helping me develop into the person that I've become, and all those who continue to fuel the flames of passion that drives me. My husband knows this. I couldn't do this without you all. Thank you.
Oh, Alison Watson, thank you so much. Heartfelt, beautiful, thank you. And now we come to one of the highlights of the evening, an opportunity to honour a day that means so much to the rare disease community worldwide, and the very reason the Black Pearl Awards are celebrated at this time of year. I'm speaking, of course, about Rare Disease Day. Rare Disease Day is a global coordinated movement dedicated to advancing equity in social opportunities, healthcare, and access to timely diagnosis and effective therapies for people living with a rare disease. Since its launch in 2008, Rare Disease Day has been instrumental in building a strong international rare disease community, one that spans conditions, countries, and cultures, yet is united by a shared purpose. The ongoing Rare Disease Day 2026 campaign is generously supported by funders including AFM Telethon and individual contributors worldwide. On the 28th of February, yes, that's this Saturday, everyone is invited to show their support by joining the global chain of lights, sharing the campaign online or in any other way, joining in solidarity with people living with rare diseases around the world. Now let's watch this year's official Rare Disease Day video together.
What is it like to live with a rare disease?
I have to take care of my conditions while dealing with how the others look at me.
I deal with an educational system that ignores me.
I face discrimination and lack of acceptance.
I feel the need for action and access, not apologies.
But things can be different.
I imagine a brighter future,
where empathy replaces judgment.
Healthcare is inclusive.
Public space fits everyone's needs.
And no one is left behind.
More opportunities.
More hope.
More breakthroughs.
More action.
More community. More than you can imagine.
Take part in Rare Disease Day.
Wonderful. Now, inspired, let's give that a round of applause. Hopefully, we are all going to be getting involved on Saturday. Now, inspired by this year's slogan, More Than You Can Imagine, we now invite you, where you are, to tell us what equity for the rare disease community means for you. So, what does equity for the rare disease community mean for you? Whether it's more breakthroughs than you can imagine or more hope that you can imagine. We'd like you to fill in that blank. More something than you can imagine. What would you want to put in that word? You can share your ideas with us through the Mentimeter word cloud page. That's available via the QR code on the slide or on the link in the chat. So just get your cameras on that. Fill in the word and we'll get a word cloud going. And for you guys at home, watching online, you can do that through the URL code in the chat. As mentioned earlier, you can support Eurodis in its awareness-raising initiatives, including Rare Disease Day, by donating via the QR code and link behind me in the chat as well. Before we continue with the ceremony, I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank, on behalf of Eurodis, all the national alliances for rare diseases playing such a crucial role in raising awareness for the community, including their engagement with Rare Disease Day and the shaping of policies at a national level. I'm very pleased to see quite a few National Alliance representatives here with us this evening. We have Belgium, Italy, Denmark, Romania, and France, and probably lots of others. Let's give them a big round of applause. Now we're ready to move on to the Eurodis Company Award for Health Technology. This award honours companies developing solutions with a significant positive impact on the daily lives of people living with a rare disease. I'm delighted to announce that this year's award is going to Saventic Health from Poland. Eurodis recognises the company for its pioneering use of artificial intelligence to meet the critical need for timely and accurate diagnosis in rare diseases. With algorithms certified as medical devices in the EU and beyond, their scalable solution accelerates the diagnostic journey for people living with rare and hard-to-diagnose conditions. Demonstrating a strong commitment to the rare disease community, Saventic Health provides its technology at no cost to patients and healthcare centres, supporting physicians in medical assessments and guiding patients toward further testing and appropriate care. By harnessing AI in this way, Saventic Health is helping detect rare diseases earlier and improving health and well-being outcomes, offering hope and tangible impact for patients worldwide. Please join me in welcoming on stage Saventic Health Global Medical Partnership Director, Marta Gerdelenska.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the entire Saventic Health team and the founder and father of our company, Szymon Piątkowski, I'd like to thank you, Eurodis, and thank you to Rare Disease community. Standing here at the Black Pearl Award is deeply humbling. The Company Award for Health Technology is a validation of a mission that started not in a tech lab, but at the bedside. What makes Saventic different is our DNA. We weren't founded by IT experts looking for a problem to solve. We were founded mainly by doctors. Because we come from clinical practice, we know the exhausting path patients walk through the healthcare system. We've seen the frustration of the diagnosis odyssey firsthand. Early on, we asked ourselves a simple question. What if we could use the power of AI to find the needle in the haystack before the haystack gets too big? And we found two pathways to hope. One is Saventic Care, designed to take the patient by the hand. It's a place where they can share their journey and be guided directly to the specialized help they need, at no cost. Saventic Med, this is the platform which leads the doctor to the patient. It flags those at high risk within medical data, finding the patient who is already waiting for an answer, even if they and their doctor don't know it yet. But let's be clear, technology alone isn't the hero of this story. It's merely a bridge from human to human. When we look at our lines of code, we don't just see data points. We see mothers waiting for answer for their children. We see adults looking for a reason behind their chronic pain. We see the years of uncertainty that we are determined to erase. This is why we are committed to keeping our technology accessible, ensuring the path to a diagnosis is never blocked by a price tag. This award belongs to the patients. Your resilience is the fuel for our innovation. We are here to give you back the time that disease tried to take away. Thank you for trusting us to be part of your journey. Let's keep changing the world, one diagnosis at a time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha. And this brings us to this evening's next announcement, the Eurordis Scientific Award, which is presented each year to a distinguished researcher whose career reflects a rare combination of scientific excellence and meaningful engagement with the patient community. I'm delighted to announce that this year's recipient of the Eurordis Scientific Award is Professor Hélène Dollfus. Her outstanding contribution to the understanding and treatment of rare genetic eye diseases. This is what it's for. Professor Dollfus has been a leading figure in rare disease research and care for more than 2 decades. She heads the Medical Genetics Department at Strasbourg University Hospital and coordinates CARGO, the Reference Centre for Rare Ophthalmological Genetic Diseases. She plays a key leadership role in the French Rare Sensory Diseases Network, SensGene, and ERNI, strengthening collaboration and shared expertise across Europe. Professor Dollfus' research has been central to identifying genes responsible for rare conditions such as Bardet-Biedl syndrome and other ciliopathies, helping advance more targeted therapies. Beyond science, she's also deeply committed to patients. She actively supports patient registries, provides clinical care, and works closely with organisations like Retina International and Retina France. Through advocacy and public awareness initiatives, including Rare Disease Day, she has helped raise the profile of rare diseases across Europe. Please join me in a round of applause for Professor Hélène Dollfus.
So, good evening. This award makes me truly honored. It feels as an immense, unexpected privilege, and I would like to express my gratitude to Eurordis and all rare disease patients and their families for their trust and for this long-standing, very profound human adventure we share daily. As a child, I got hooked to rare diseases by watching a movie, The Miracle Worker, that provoked a shock to me. This film is about the amazing story of Helen Keller and her tireless educator, her desperate parents realizing about her deafness and her blindness, and about her incredible odyssey. My path is also influenced by tremendous mentors in ophthalmology and medical genetics I will never thank enough. So, as Helen Keller tells us, alone one can do so little, together one can do so much. I express my sincere thanks to all the members of the Strasbourg teams and to colleagues in France and in Europe, and especially in the context of our blooming European reference networks for rare diseases, the ERNs. ERNs should be seen as a European treasure because they are a unique examples of pioneering healthcare networks showing that care and research bears no frontiers. ERNs have grown now to be an absolute essential contributor to build altogether a highly competitive European rare disease ecosystem. For me and my colleagues, rare disease doctors, patients are our daily motor, our deep motivation for innovation that we know is not an option, but an urgent obligation. However the rare disease may be, this research can be extremely far-reaching, generating knowledge, illuminating at large life sciences and almost all fields of medicine, not only in diagnosis and therapies for rare diseases, but also for common diseases. Research is never a straightforward path, but for patients, very understandably, it is never fast enough. Rapid access to trials and therapies remains one of our urgent collective duties. Today is an era of unprecedented explosions of technologies, the digital data revolution, the burst of genomics, omics, and molecular instruments, the advent of game-changing therapies. Tools are ready: CRUISE, patients, ERNs, the whole rare disease system, Orphanet, Erdrea, etc. are ready. Engines are heating up. We all have one plea. We need to fill the tank. Investing in rare disease is a vital priority by many means for Europe and beyond. Back to Helen Keller, telling us, life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Rare disease is an essential field in medical genetics and scientific competitiveness. Our plea tonight to decision makers, to regulators, is please dare investing strongly in this overreaching adventure. We live in a changing world with global major turbulences. We must never lower our guard to watch over our undisputable goals. There is still so much to do. More than ever, Helen Keller is right. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight and no vision. Tonight, needless to say, we all have the same vision of doing everything in our power to address together the huge rare diseases challenges. This award means very much to me. Thank you so much.
Hélène Delfouz, thank you so much. So just a bit earlier, I asked you to fill in those little word cloud words. Can we have a look at what the results were, please? Okay, so the question was more something than you can imagine. These are the words you came up with. More access, more hope, more support, more dignity, understanding, inclusion, acceptance, community, creativity, loads of lovely ones just around the outside there. What a great slide. More togetherness, more access to medicines, more potential, more opportunities, more determination, more joy. Wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that. That really gives us a great picture and is a great start, even though we're a little bit early for Rare Disease Day. Just wonderful. Now, we're now going to turn to one of my favourite award categories, the Eurodis Media Awareness Raising Award. This award is presented to an individual, organisation or group that has significantly raised awareness for rare diseases through creative media or artistic projects. This year, Eurodis is proud to recognise the exceptional impact of the documentary The Remarkable Life of Evelyn for its powerful contribution to global awareness and understanding of rare diseases through storytelling. Directed by Benjamin Ree, this 2024 Norwegian documentary tells the moving story of Mats Steen, a young man living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy who found friendship and purpose through his World of Warcraft character, Evelyn Redmore. It was only after Matt passed away at the age of 25 that his family fully discovered the profound and lasting impact he had on a worldwide community of players. Through a rich blend of home videos, blog entries, and animated sequences, the film beautifully illustrates how digital worlds can create genuine human connections. It's beautiful. Premiering at Sundance, where it received both the audience and directing awards, the documentary has since reached international audiences on Netflix, earning widespread critical acclaim. Its impact extended beyond the screen when Blizzard Entertainment launched a World of Warcraft charity campaign inspired by the film, raising over $2 million for Care Duchenne. By Combining artistic excellence with meaningful social impact, the remarkable life of Evelyn has reshaped perceptions of disability, digital life, and community. Let's watch the trailer together.
Mats var født med en sjelden muskelsykdom. Etter hvert som han ble mer og mer avhengig av rullestolen, så økte også spilltiden og skjermtiden hans dramatisk. Det var vår store sorg at han ikke skulle få oppleve vennskap, kjærlighet og det å være viktig i andre menneskers liv. You proved us wrong. You proved us so wrong.
Dear Robert, Trude, and Mia.
I'm a friend of Mats, and I knew him through Evelyn.
Evelyn was a friend that I could be open with.
I spend most of my time in a little place called Azeroth. In there, my chains are broken, and I can be whoever I want to be.
I don't think he was aware of how big an impact he had done to a lot of people.
We had the whole let's go on a date together and he would give the flowers.
It was just a virtual kiss. But boy, I could almost feel it.
We knew almost nothing about him in real life.
There was that kind of nagging feeling something was wrong.
Før Mats gikk bort, så hadde han lagt ned et passord. Bak det passordet så lå det en verden vi ikke visste noe som helst om.
Wow, let's give that a round of applause. To accept this year's award, please join me in welcoming Matt's parents, who are here this evening, Robert and Trude Steen.
Thank you so much. That was really heartbreaking.
You stole all of our time.
Yeah. But we'll hurry up. Tuesday, the 18th of May, 1993, our world fell apart.
We were at the hospital and we received our diagnosis. Our son Mats was born with Duchenne muscular disease, a muscle wasting condition causing progressive weakness. Gradually, Mats would lose all of his abilities, all of his muscles, and in the end, also his life. In 1993, very few boys with this disease got to experience their 20th birthday.
Then came the 5 devastating words: there is no known cure.
Many in this room will recognize that moment. And it is impossible to describe it as anything else than the ultimate shock. Yet, the greatest challenge throughout the 25 years of Mats was not necessarily the disease itself, it was the feeling of being alone.
Alone and isolated.
In 1993, there was no internet. There was no EuroRDs. There was no global organization of Cure Duchenne who you could lean on to.
A lack of community, a lack of knowledge, and a lack of support.
Isolation leads to despair and hopelessness.
But Mats did not live an isolated life. He lived with friendship, meaning, and a lot of love.
He was accused of being a ladies' man.
Yeah.
And morally questionable, maybe. But I must admit that as a father, I was quite proud when I learned about that.
Mats had a reason to get up every morning. He found purpose through his avatar, Evelyn.
Mats lived a happy and meaningful life, one we didn't see fully while he was living. The reason for this, because we didn't understand at that time the power of digital relationships. This is what the documentary, The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, is really all about.
Mats had a superpower. He made the most out of the life he was given. And he had a secret. He found so much joy in helping others.
What Mats really taught us is this: there is always hope, and you are never alone.
Today, we thank Eurodis and Cure Duchenne for making rare connections visible and for ensuring that no one faces rare diseases alone.
And finally, also a great thank you to Director Benjamin Reh and producer Ingvild Aas Giske for bringing our family story with such care to the world and for bringing it out to all of those who need to see that we are not alone and there is always hope.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Robert and Trude, thank you so, so much. You have our hearts. Before we continue with the ceremony, I want to remind you that there's still time to make a personal donation this evening in support of Eurodis' work to elevate the voice of the patient community across diseases and countries, ensuring that rare disease communities are influential in driving better, more equitable policies and care in Europe. You can donate by scanning the QR code or via the URL that you see on the screen of the chat if you're watching us online. I'm now thrilled to invite Felix Klieser back this evening to share some more of his irresistible music. Let's give him a warm welcome. Please welcome Felix Klieser. The stage is yours. Thank you. Felix Klieser, please give a big round of applause. Thank you. I'm now delighted to move on to our second Eurordis Company Award this year, the one for patient engagement, acknowledging meaningful and impactful collaboration, as well as the commitment to serving and empowering people living with rare diseases. To announce our 2026 award recipient this evening, we have a very special guest. I'm delighted to welcome to the stage Autism Europe's President, Harold Neerland. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening. Like so many of the organizations represented here, Autism Europe has always been a strong supporter of research. It is therefore my pleasure to introduce to you the next award recipient this evening. I'm pleased to announce that Eurordis Company Award for Patient Engagement goes to Roche and King's College London for their commitment to involve people with lived experience as equal partners in AIMS2 Trials Consortium. The AIMS2 Trials project, improving health outcomes for underserved autistic community, while also advancing research into rare genetic conditions linked to autism and rare neurodevelopmental conditions. The autism family has a statement, it probably echoes a lot of you guys. Nothing for us without us. And by involving people with lived experiences at every stage, the AIMS2 Trials project has deepened understanding and shared biological pathways and strengthened clinical trial infrastructure across Europe, particularly for communities long underrepresented in research. Built on trust and collaboration, AIMS2 Trials stands out as a best practice model, demonstrating how meaningful involvement of people with lived experience can transform research, design, data sharing, and outcome measures. It is now my pleasure to welcome on stage Professor Emily Jones from King's College London.
Many thanks, and I'd like to say I'm honoured to be here to accept this award on behalf of AIMS2 Trials and our industry partner Roche, who have been with us from the very beginning for at least 15 years now, working together to try to improve outcomes for autistic people and for children who have rare genetic conditions and other neurodevelopmental conditions who are underserved. And our partnership has been critically important, and particularly Roche's involvement has been really important in helping us bring the voices of people with lived experience into all parts of our research process. And together we've been able to do many things. We've built a network of clinical trial ready sites across Europe who are ready to help us run trials of new medications and new treatment options for people who need them, to bring new options to families faster. We've built a database of information about children's brains and their biology to try to help us design better treatment options for kids that are more individualized to their particular conditions. And bringing kids together is super important, of course, in the rare disease space, because we may find things that we share in common that can help us generate new support or treatment options for many children. We do work on early signs and early diagnosis to try to help families in that really challenging period where nobody knows what to do and there's very little help out there. and we've done work on the priorities of people with lived experience and tried to bring that to policymakers. But we couldn't have done any of that without the input right the way through of families of kids with neurodevelopmental and genetic conditions, of autistic people, of people with lived experience, who gave us their time, not just as participants in our studies, but as full partners in the research process, helping us to ask better questions, to design studies better to answer those questions, and to help us interpret what the results are and then what we should do about them. So I want to dedicate this award to all of those people who've helped us in our journey, and we hope that we can continue to work together to improve the outcomes of all people with rare diseases. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. As an autistic person, I just want to say an extra special thank you. Okay, I can't believe we've already reached the final segment of this evening's ceremony. It's time to reveal the 2 awards that have been chosen by you, our public audience. Let's start with the Photo Award. In 3rd place, winning an Amazon Echo Dot Max is... Let's have a look. Oh, we get a drum roll. Da, 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 da. There we are, in 3rd place. And India Fani's photograph representing Waardenburg syndrome from India. In 2nd place, start that drum roll, yes. And winning a Polaroid Now Plus Generation 3 starter set is Xeroderma pigmentosum algeria, photographed by Mohammed Habib Al-Nahi. And I can now reveal that the winning photo, winning a GoPro Hero 13 Black Action camera, drum roll, is, let's have a look. Yes! Progeria from Guyana, photographed by Christabel St. Hill Gray. A big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you for your voting. Well done. And now we are ready to reveal the last 2026 award recipient. Earlier in the evening, we highlighted the amazing work of this year's 3 finalists for the Eurodis Social Media Award. Now, the moment has come to reveal who among them has received the most votes from the public. And the recipient of the Eurodis Social Media Award 2026 is... Are we going to shine a light on them? They're over there on that table. Drum roll. It's Tilly Rose from the United Kingdom. I hope your mum is filming this for your social media.
Well, thank you. Firstly, I would like to start by thanking Eurodis and Carrie for hosting what really has been the Oscars of rare diseases. I think we can all agree. And I would also like to acknowledge the other finalists and their incredible work that they have done alongside me. This award is also for you, and patients supporting patients is 100% the way forward. In 2022, as you saw on the screen earlier, I found myself in a London hospital experiencing symptoms that were affecting every system in my body. I was told that my lactate levels meant I should already be dead. At this point, a doctor sat in front of my mum and me. He leaned over his desk and he said, "Give up and accept this as your life." But he didn't know us. My mum's mantra was, "Giving up is never an option." Being a medical mystery for the last 20 years means I've experienced every corner of our healthcare system in my desperate search for a diagnosis. I've become the expert that no one wants to be, the expert patient. Following 13 years of undiagnosed active tuberculosis, followed by life-threatening Addison's disease, in 2022, I found myself in a London hospital for almost 3 months. I was about to be discharged on palliative care. In desperation, I posted on Instagram @ThatTillyRose, and I asked the world for ideas. The world answered. Professors, PhD students, patients, their families, people from all over the world got in touch with diagnosis ideas, test suggestions, and treatment options. My mum compiled every single one of their suggestions into a list, and she spent the next year relentlessly researching. There was one idea she kept returning to. In November 2023, this ultimately led us to board a plane to Germany, where I went on to receive my life-saving diagnosis. I had multiple vascular compressions caused by underlying Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I required 3 life-saving surgeries. Social media gets a lot of bad press, but this is 100% a story of social media for social good. It showed me the potential of social media to open up healthcare conversations on a global scale. And Instagram saved my life. On my Instagram, @ThatTillyRose, I share my life behind the hospital curtain, validating other patients' daily reality. And through sharing my story online and in my recently published memoir, Be Patient, so many other patients have gone on to receive their own life-saving diagnoses. This inspired me to launch That Patient Collective, which includes a patient portal where patients can upload their own medical mysteries and other patients can suggest different ideas that might help them along the way. I realized that chronic illness patients, undiagnosed patients, and rare disease patients are so often offered counseling and therapy when they actually have something very physically wrong with them. I feel that coaching, a more goal-orientated method, could revolutionize this sphere. So I went on to study coaching at the University of Cambridge. And I am now coaching individual chronic illness patients, as well as going into medical organizations, charities, and biotechs in order to give the patients a voice. So if anyone in this room could support with this, please do get in touch. I'm hugely grateful to Eurodis for their support of rare disease patients. My story proves the importance of opening up healthcare conversations internationally. I didn't find my diagnosis in my home country. I found it through social media and through traveling to Germany. So tonight, I must thank my incredible @ThatTillyRose social media community and also my German medical team, who treated me as Tilly, not Tilly the patient. They treated me as a human being. In Be Patient, my memoir, I write, "Mine is not a story about being limited by a label. We don't say only accountants can do maths, or only authors are good at writing, or only historians can understand the past. But there does appear to be a view that only doctors can understand medicine. On my rare disease journey, it has only been through my mum and I taking control of my narrative and through defying the patient label that I am alive today. In so many spheres, everyone is talking about the patient. But I feel the patient needs to be at the centre of the conversation. To the doctor who told me to give up, I am standing here tonight in front of all of you, very much alive. It is now my mission to continue the patient revolution. Thank you.
Tilly Rose, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we close this year's ceremony, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of our honorary patrons for their ongoing support of the rare disease community, both nationally and internationally, including those who were able to join us here in Brussels this evening, members of the European Parliament, Bosse, Andrew Kazaris, Sokai, HE Ambassador Shalnik, and representing the Executive Director of the European Medicines, Emma Cook, and the agency's Chief Medical Officer, Stefan Thurstrup. Several of our patrons have also shared special video messages, which you can find on our virtual event platform. We encourage you to take a moment to watch those and hear some of their inspiring words of support. We'd also like to recognise and thank the Chair and members of the Black Pearl Committee, whose dedication and commitment are instrumental in advancing the rare disease cause. And one final heartfelt thank you goes to our corporate donors. Your generous support has been essential in making this evening a reality, and we deeply value your commitment to the rare disease community. Thank you, Eurordis, and thanks to you, Eurordis can continue driving initiatives that connect communities, empower patient leaders, and raise awareness, improving the lives of people living with rare diseases and for their families too. Before we say goodbye, I want to take a moment to thank all of you for being here in Brussels and those of you who have joined us online. You've been a wonderful audience, very attentive and really listening to all of our words and speeches. And it's been a joy to read all your thoughtful messages throughout the evening. The online platform will remain open for the rest of the week, so you can continue to network on that platform, explore photos, and catch up on the messages in the lead up to Rare Disease Day. For those of you that are here in the room, we invite you to return to the foyer where you started to continue the conversations, accompanied by delicious desserts and coffee. We also thank and ask all the award recipients, along with your Eurordis board and staff members, to join the photographer at the media wall that's out here and turn left. Join there for a group photo. Thank you once again for making this evening so special, and we hope to see you in June at the ECRD in Prague or online. Thank you so much. Good night.